here we are. We're going to answer the questions about in one of our questions in our channel about how you handle misunderstanding. So, in our case with Terence and I, it's like with the other marriage couple, we also have misunderstanding, we also have disagreement, upset, but at the end of the day, we're still together now, so we're fixing it.
That's right.
So, help me out here, huh?
Well, let me explain. This is a foreigner living in the Philippines, and my mother-in-law is on the camera, and she didn't save the last half-hour video which we did this whole thing on. And so this is the second time that we're doing this. So all of the spontaneity has kind of disappeared. So we've got to find it again. But we were asked to do a video on how we handle disagreements, how we handle upsets. And one of the things that we both found is that we have to have at least a few rules that we try to keep. Now, bearing in mind that I'm a Westerner and Beth is a Filipino, and just that difference means that there are huge gaps in how we think. In the West, they tend to put the blame. The blame has to be taken. Who's to blame about this? So there's an upset. Somebody did something wrong. Right. Well, who's to blame? It's blame, right? Well, it was your fault. And then what happens usually is that they have what I call the post-mortem method. This is where they take the disagreement, the upset between the two people who are on fire right now, and they lay it out on the slab, and they pick it apart like a dead body. Well, you said this, and well, yes, but I only said that because you said this, and well, yes, but you. So it's he said, you said, I said, what?
Yeah,
and no one is taking in incoming calls anyway. Nobody's listening to each other. So Beth always says that she doesn't believe when people say that they don't close their eyes and sleep until they are in harmony. Well, that means that you may do some all-nighters and have a terrible day the next day. Sometimes there needs to be a little time between the disagreement.
Yeah, there are some couples, there are some people says that we didn't sleep, unless we didn't close our eyes. That's that's the advertisement.
There are some challenges here that have to be allowed for.
Yes.
Like all these damn chickens and turkeys.
So as I said, there are some couples that I heard that it says that they didn't close their eyes. They didn't
go to sleep.
They didn't go to sleep unless they resolve their problem. But in my case, I don't believe it. It's just in my own opinion, I don't believe, because there are some misunderstanding that can be fixed. But there are also some misunderstanding that it takes time. It takes time. The head will be a little colder. So yes, we have some misunderstanding with parents. It's normal. There are some misunderstanding that we fix it before we close our eyes, before we go to sleep. But there are also misunderstanding that we leave it for a while. We leave it for a while. We let our head getting cooler, and then we resolve it in the next day. So
this is if the disagreement happens late at night. So maybe that's a good suggestion. Never open a disagreement discussion when you're just going to bed.
Yeah.
Leave it until the next day, because nobody ever thinks straight when they're just about to go to sleep. It's the end of the day, and you need your energy and you clear head to be able to offer a discussion. Plus, if you bring up something that is a continuing upset or disagreement between you, because marriage is a work in progress, so there may be things which one or the other may be saying, I wish you wouldn't do that. Right? When we first met, I'm Americanized. I spent the last 20 years in America. I'm Americanized to a certain degree. I'm British, yes. You never forget being British. But some things you pick up all the time. And one of the words that Beth could not stand, could not tolerate, was shit. So this meant a big change in behavior for me, because if I hit my hand with the hammer, somehow saying, oh bother, silly Billy, no, I would say shit, and she couldn't stand that word. So I had to agree that I would not use that word, and I don't use that word now.
Yeah, but you use sometimes.
Very, very seldom. So we actually.
So yes, I think it's normal for a marriage to have misunderstanding, and I think the best thing to do is, once your partner is is very angry or in fire, the other partner should be water, because if both are in fire, so there could be possibility that it crashed the relationship, it damaged the relationship. Then another thing is, when you're angry, don't say something, don't say things because you're not in the right mind, the way of your thinking, the way of your judgment is not strong enough,
No, your judgment is cloudy.
Yeah, cloudy. Your judgment is cloudy. So that's how it is, because when you say something, it will not be.
It can't be.
It can't be.
The danger is that if you continue when you're both angry, that you will say things which can never be taken back.
Yeah.
And they will always be remembered, because that's the nature of humans, is that they do tend to remember those bad things. I can relate to this very, very strongly, that things will be said, and the thing is that those things may not be delivered with the same intent as the degree of damage which the person receiving, on the receiving end, the person takes a great deal more damage than was ever intended. And when a person has said something that they really wish they had never said, but it can't be taken back. So the thing to do is to avoid, when you're trying to, you recognize it. I mean, you have a marriage, you may have children, a house, car payments, all of those inconsequential things which have to be attended to, right? You're not going anywhere, so you know that time is with you. You have time. Just take a moment out and just do ordinary things. Have a cup of coffee or sit, and just let things be for a moment. Then when you calm down, that's the moment at which you can actually talk. I used to use this method when I was a single parent, long before I met Beth. I was a single parent bringing up a boy. Sometimes there would be a degree of upset, as with any child, where the tears would be, the upset, the crying, and all of that. And at that moment, always, I used to just go over, put my arms around the child, my son, and I would just hold him. And I'd hold him until he stopped crying. Then I would let it go until later. And then later, I would say to him, can we talk about that now? And when he was calm, he would say yes. And then we talk about it calmly in a much different way to how it would have been if I tried to lay down the law through those tears, through that anger, through that upset and failing anyway. So we use that method now between Beth and I.
Yeah, and another thing also in our relationship with parents is we have there are some disagreement that we didn't settle before we sleep, but we have a big rule that we never sleep in a separate bed, even we have this disagreement. We make sure that no one sleep in the other corner of the house,
Right, so you're talking about the agreement.
Yeah.
What ideally we would have liked, we were going on how other people have always said this, about never close your eyes and sleep unless you're in complete harmony.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you need a little time, and that's when you have to stop the talk, let the blood flow away from the head.
Yeah. Just let having a calm, colder head,
Yes.
that everything will be in harmony. And once you're both in harmony, you can talk it and without ego, because if you are in both angry, each of you are angry, there's
No, you're not.
It can't resolve things.
You're not receiving income.
Yeah. Another thing also is, in our case of parents, I am a born again Christian and he was not. In fact, I'm still praying for his salvation. But in our case, when we have disagreement, and even if it's his fault, I always put my Christians.
It's your fault.
I always put in my Christian's belief that even though it's his fault, I'm the one who say sorry. Just to fix things. Because I don't like to sleep that we're in bad mood. So even it's his fault, I just be the one to step down and say sorry. So that's how it is, because I believe that when both of you are on fire, try the other one to be water. Even if it's not a matter of whose fault it is. If you want your marriage work, try to step down and try to move so that the disagreement will be resolved. And in our case, even if we have disagreement, I always pray for God that in our relationship to have a healthy relationship, because marriage is a continual process. It doesn't mean that you're married, you stop working on the relationship. So
no, that's where when you get married, that's really the start of it. People think that they know each other before they get married.
Yeah, but it didn't.
But they really don't. Until you've shared a bathroom and shared a kitchen and shared a bed on a continual basis, then you really don't know that person. Plus, there's always this social veneer, and that social veneer has to be peeled away to get right down to the you and her or him. And you have to reach that point before you can actually say that you know that person. Plus, you have to see them when there's a disagreement to be had and healed and resolved, and how they approach that. Now, one of the rules that we have is, and a rule that I used to have as a single parent, was that you can never refuse a sincere sorry. So whatever's happened, if the person actually comes up and finds the courage to say, look, I'm sorry, then get over it. Whatever you felt, get over it. If you may have children that we've talked about recently, you've got all kinds of commitments together. You've probably got a car payment, heaven forbid. So you get over these things and you accept the sorry, and that's the most important thing. You also, I saw some writing by a counsellor who had interviewed thousands of people who were in the midst of, at the point of trying to avoid the point of breakup. And she said that the most crucial point was the point where they stop caring what the other person thinks. So if you've reached that point where you're saying or thinking, I don't care. Don't say that word, which is very popular in America. Whatever. Don't use that expression, right? Don't say whatever, because it won't help. So try, keep caring. Keep caring. The other thing is, always go to bed together. So don't start taking yourself off into another part of the house and sleeping on the couch.
Yeah, and I think also that the secret of marriage is put God in the center in it, you know.
This is a Christian, born again Christian ethic which I can understand and
put
agree
God
with.
in the center in it and ask for guidance on the marriage, you know, because marriage life is not easy, you know. You're married to the person that you will spend for the rest of your life, and that person's have behaviors, have different beliefs than you, and different culture, especially for those Filipino married for foreigner. There is a big adjustment. So I think the secret for it is just understand, respect, and cultivate more the love and surrender to God that for your relationship so that it grows, you know. So
And these are very general, but these are very general terms. This is the part of the Christian approach, and this is where we differ in a lot of ways. For me, because I'm a Westerner, and what I've observed is that when you cross the cultural line, as far as behavior goes, the other person of a different culture will behave according to her culture, and you will behave according to yours. How can it be any different? Unless you start to change. Now, I observed my mother-in-law and the way that she behaved. Somebody came into the house and they did something which for me was unforgivable. So I'm sharing blame. I'm a Westerner. I'm a foreigner. So I cut that person out of my life. I told her, you're not my friend. You disrespected the rules of the house and you're not my friend. And I cut her out. So, but saying I cut her out, I lost that person as a friend. My mother-in-law, who suffered as much probable hurt by the same action, did not cut that person out of her life. She instantly just passed over it, moved on, forgave the person, treated her in exactly the same way, and didn't lose anybody. The woman felt bad because of my attitude. That was what affected it. In other words, my bad attitude prevented that woman from just coming back and moving on, and we would all accept that she was no more perfect than the rest of us. You know?
yeah, so unforgiveness is, don't hold unforgiveness in your in hearts, you know, in your heart.
Don't withhold.
Yeah, don't withhold, because life is short. Enjoy life, and always put in mind that if you forgive somebody, it helps you to grow.
It helps you to grow.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
that's why, did I say that we never refuse a sorry?
yeah.
Yeah. So we never refuse a sincere sorry. We avoid, like the plague, the idea that we don't care. We make sure that we attend to that. The not caring is very important. Don't get to that. Don't get to the whatever stage.
Yeah.
You resolve, you work on and resolve the disagreement long before it ever gets to that stage, right? Sleep in the same bed. Because during the night, without any words, one can touch the other. And that is a huge thing. Just the idea that you can touch. And even though you're both asleep, you both know that reconciliation, that little reach and that touch means that you'll wake up in the morning and things will be fine. You'll both be saying, weren't we a bit stupid last night? What were you trying to interrupt with me there, dear?
We're almost low bat.
We're almost low back.
So the last thing that I could say is that whatever disagreement, whatever misunderstanding that you encounter with your partner, always remember, try to work it out, try to resolve it. Don't give up the relationship, because you're committed. And I think every misunderstanding, there's always a solution, and
yes,
and always just try to close your eyes and always think all those positive things that you've been together, you're doing together, and try to think that that's the person that you're committed, that's the person that you promise to love for the rest of your life, so
yeah. I used to have, long before in my life, I found that there was one thing that in my life it's only ever been refused once. And that was if I had a disagreement with someone, not actually talking just about marriage, but with friends, I had a disagreement where we were both violently opposed to what had happened, whatever it was that had happened. I could call that person and say, let me speak. Just hear me out, let me speak. We both have our viewpoint. You think you're right, I think I'm right. It doesn't matter who is right or wrong. The friendship, the relationship is more important to me than who is right or wrong. Can we please move on? Can we forget about being right or wrong? Can we just move on and continue to have a friendship that I value? It's only ever been turned down once. So that's a pretty good record for that as a healer. You call them, just let me speak, please. The friendship is more important than the disagreement. Can we please move on? I miss your friendship. Can we please move on? And it takes a hardened soul to refuse that plea. And I now, with my wife, nothing is ever that big that I have to say that. I don't have to say that.
Yeah.
And
So
we work at the relationship. It's an ongoing thing. We work at the relationship, even though she's always wrong and I'm always right.
yeah. So I hope it helps, it helps what we tried to talk about. So please, since we're almost out of battery, so please like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel.
Hope you'll be with us again. Thank you. This is a foreigner living in the Philippines, and we'll say goodbye.
Have a good day and God bless.